Hey guys, what's going on? Blaine back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about A Cut Above. A Cut Above is a Brazilian comedy that tells the story of Richardsson, a young man who is stuck with deciding what to do with his life following his completion of high school. As he tries to sort out his dilemma, he learns that the Saigon beauty salon which his mother runs is in danger of closing down due to lack of business. As he does his best to help her with errands, he unexpectedly discovers a hidden talent for cutting and styling people's hair in creative ways. Word of mouth gets passed down, and Richardsson decides to take it upon himself to save the salon, which goes against his mother's wishes. I've been looking forward to seeing a Brazilian movie on Netflix for a long time now, and while it's nice to finally see one, I wish it could have turned out better than this. It's not bad, as it does have some entertainment value with its characters and easygoing story, but these same strengths also happen to be its biggest weaknesses as well. To start, Richardsson was a good protagonist to follow along with for the story. He has a positive, upbeat personality that makes it easy to get behind him, and his eagerness to help out others who are in need made him even more endearing. He can be peppy to a point where it ends up making him naive, which lends well to the comedic atmosphere of the story, though this also causes problems for him as well as he tries to figure out what he wants to do with his life. Even though the way he discovers his talent out of nowhere despite years of being around his mother's business is a bit iffy, it was easy to relate to his struggle as far as figuring out a passion goes. His mother Christina was a decent character as well, though not quite up to par with Richardsson. The way she dotes and lectures her son in an affectionate way is adorable, though there's also a lingering tension between them in that she wants him to follow a set path while he wants to be more open about possible opportunities. And this ends up being the main conflict of the story, along with trying to find money to keep the salon open. The dynamic between the two isn't exactly original, but what's more of an issue is that their antagonism doesn't really show up all that much. There's just not that many scenes where the two come to blows over their different points of view, which made the story kind of boring at times. Both of them spend most of their time tending to their own respective subplots, which coincidentally revolve around love interests in their lives. Richardson's case is more notable than his mother's, though not by a whole lot. His love interest Raquel is severely lacking in personality, and the whole love triangle aspect with her artist boyfriend Cheese Curd is strange to put it mildly. Everything about the romance feels like it was thrown in just for the sake of padding out the runtime. In fact, most of the characters in general are a bit of a mixed bag, simply by virtue of how many of them there are. There's the eccentric Pastor Josias, the landlord Jorge, Mr. Lewis who randomly shows up from time to time, and a shady guy named Johnny, just to name a few. On one hand, some of these characters do contribute to the story in a meaningful way. Richardson's sister Danielle has a funny arc involving her boyfriend, who's the only white guy in the neighborhood, while his deceased father Hura pops up on occasion to give advice whenever Richardson has a moral dilemma. But on the other hand, most of the characters don't serve that much purpose, with some of them disappearing from the movie altogether after one or two scenes. Having so many bland characters and subplots attached to them makes it confusing to follow along with the story at hand. Once the movie starts to become more focused on Richardson's haircutting talents, that's when the movie becomes more enjoyable. The crazy styles he comes up with for the people he serves are interesting to see from start to finish, and Richardson's actor does a good job at conveying his character's enthusiasm for the trade. Of course, his newfound skill results in mishaps as well, especially with competing stylist Gracie Kelly, whose name I really got a kick out of. I wish this subplot got more attention compared to all the other ones, because from what little is seen of it, it's a lot of fun to see the rival salons go at it with each other. Because this is a comedy, it's more lighthearted in nature and features a lot of silliness, most of which is expressed by its sheer number of characters and the bizarre situations they're involved in. While many weren't important story-wise, I will admit that as far as comedy is concerned, most of them did get a chuckle out of me. One of my favorite running gags involves a chicken Richardson buys from a market, which he nicknames Feathers. Even though the chicken's meant to be food, it ends up tagging along to wherever Richardson goes for the entire movie, and the characters' reactions to it are priceless. I have no idea why it stuck around for so long, but I am glad it did. This being said, sometimes it feels like the movie tries too hard to be funny. It frequently makes use of flashback sequences that don't add much context to the story, even when it attempts to do so with Christina's mediocre romance arc, ended up being more slapstick than witty in nature, and the editing transitions used in between these and other scenes attached to them were really jarring. I also wasn't a fan with how the movie tended to break the fourth wall, usually with Richardson complaining to the camera about censoring language or why he's being filmed in the first place. I find that kind of style only really works when a movie aims to be more meta from the get-go, and because the fourth wall is only broken a small handful of times, it just felt out of place when it did happen. Something I did not mind seeing though was the beautiful cinematography of the city where the story takes place. All of the sets and landscape shots feature just about every color visible to the human eye, which looks aesthetically pleasing and adds to the fun atmosphere of the movie. In particular, I like the amount of urban scenery that's shown throughout the story. There's a close-knit sense of community that's conveyed with how Richardson and other characters are accommodated with each other, which makes the chemistry between them more believable, and again, it's just a blast to see them all have fun together. The movie loses steam during its final act and has a few twists to its plot that are just straight up bizarre in how they're executed, but they don't impact the movie too much as a whole. And while the message regarding following one's purpose is pretty simple in its presentation, it remains effective to a basic degree. Overall, A Cut Above is a decent but ultimately forgettable comedy that approaches its humor and themes in predictable fashion. If you like comedies that have a party-like atmosphere in the backdrop and you don't mind multiple characters and subplots taking up the spotlight all at once, you might enjoy watching this movie. Pretty much everything about it is hit or miss. The Richardson as a character helps keep this movie from going completely off course. It doesn't exactly live up to its namesake, but it's definitely not a cut below either. What did you think about this movie? Did you like the style behind its story and characters, or did you feel it could have been done better? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of A Cut Above. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part, where next time I review the Filipino romantic comedy, The Entitled. Bye bye!